when you're playing that well and you're so far ahead of everybody else, apart from Juventus, just seem to be like, yeah, we're here.
They just win. They just win.
They're just like, yeah, we'll win. Don't worry. We'll be there. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another FIF TV video. I'm Dov. He is Vieri.
Hi, everybody.
We're back to the normal white brick wall after some travelling.
Exactly.
It's been a tough week for both of us.
Yeah, very intense. Obviously, a lot of stuff happening off the pitch, and then a beautiful weekend of Serie A on the pitch.
Yeah, indeed. We're going to talk about story and stuff at the end, but we'll talk about the football first. Because Napoli are now 4 points behind Juventus at the top of Serie A after drawing with Inter.
Yeah, how quickly things change.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, like, the question here is have they thrown it away? Basically, because they've still got, the argument saying they haven't could be that they've got Milan, Sampdoria and Juventus to play all away from home, whereas Juve have got Milan, Napoli, Samp at home, then Inter and Roma away. So Juve have got things a bit more difficult, but I think, as David Trezeguet said today, if Juve are +4, then this is ciao Napoli, it's done and dusted.
Well, yeah, I think you were just more used to it. It's the usual things. They've got a bigger and better squad. I think obviously the Champions League can have an impact on everything that we're saying, because Juventus want to go as far as possible. They'll be using a lot of their energies, mental energies, in that competition. Napoli, I think, need to hold on as much as possible and get past this first storm of they lost a game, then they draw a second game. If they win a couple of games, I think they'll get back to that.
In the rhythm of things.
In the rhythm of things, exactly.
But do you think this because I think that after the Roma game, that was, especially after Juve won in the 93rd minute, I think that's kind of key, yeah. There's a mental thing that you saw against Inter, which is completely switched off. Yeah,
I think we were both at the San Siro. We could really see it. We could sense that. From the stadium, it was almost like we knew that game didn't have a Napoli goal in it. I think from the very beginning.
Yeah, you never seen Napoli scoring apart from the chance that Insigne got. Which
we were talking about it beforehand, and that kind of chance, you need to just smash it in. Instead, he tried the lob.
From the penalty spot. It's like, you're not going to lob a keeper like that.
And you want to try that kind of thing when you're winning already.
Yeah.
And I think the fans have reacted in a positive way. The Napoli fans, they're still behind the team. They're going to keep on, supporting them. I think Sarri obviously showed a bit of frustration in the press conference.
He was really angry on the TV as well, and you might not have seen it, but it was on Mediaset Premium, and they asked him a question. I didn't see the question because I just got into the media centre after it was asked, and basically said, if you're not going to ask me about Inter versus Napoli, I'm leaving.
Yeah. So
getting angry.
He also had that moment of sexism against that journalist.
Well, I don't know what journalist it was, but
in the press room. But apart from him, I think the players all had the right attitude in front of the camera, in what they said. Napoli still believe in it, obviously, and why not? Since
it's not mathematically done and dusted, but I just think it's like that. When you're playing that well and you're so far ahead of everybody else, apart from Juventus, just seem to be like, yeah, we're here.
They just win. They just win.
Just like, yeah, we'll win. Don't worry, we'll be there. Don't worry. If you make a mistake, we'll be there to capitalise, and that's what's happened. And it just, when you've got Juventus players who are used to winning, they know, like they've said all through the season, yeah, they're ahead, but we'll get there. We'll catch them. Allegri said it. The players say, yeah, we'll catch it. March, April, we'll see where we are then and see what happens. And we're bloody top.
We were saying, I was saying back in October, November, you were going to win this title, and we were kind of waiting for the moment in which Napoli
have their slip. And it's only 2 games. It's only 2 games.
It's only 2 games,
and that's the 2 games has caused them to be 4 points behind. So they essentially need to have like a perfect end to the season, a perfect last 10 games.
They need to, first of all, they need to beat Genoa this weekend.
Yeah.
And there's, no matter how, even if they are extremely unlucky and they hit the post 10 times, a 0-0 draw, a 1-1 draw, a defeat, they just can't afford it.
Yeah, finished.
So they absolutely need to win then, and then, as Allegri says, as Sarri says, a step at a time.
Yeah, and but
We'll see
obviously
if they get out
the
of
game in Torino now is massive. Even
So it's been, and
but even more massive,
more.
particularly for Napoli, it's even more massive. Okay, so let us know what you think about the Scudetto race. Is it finished? Is this the time where Juve won it, or do Napoli still have the fight and the ability to make it to the first Scudetto since a long time ago? Now, let's move on to Milan.
Well, the next big race is who's going to make it to the Champions League, and obviously this weekend saw that Milan have a new weapon, Andre Silva.
Yeah, a recycled weapon, one that's came to life after being asleep for a long, long time. His first Serie A goal. So he's got as many Serie A goals as the Benevento goalkeeper
as Brignoli, exactly. Obviously he had started very well in the Europa League, but never really got a chance. Still probably hasn't had a run of games to really prove his worth. But Gattuso got the best out of him. He got that winning header.
Yeah, it was there at the right place at the right time. Got a massive goal for Milan, particularly in the Champions League race. Whether or not he can sustain it's a different thing in my opinion, because I think even when Gattuso's came in and everybody else has kind of reacted, he's not. When he has had his minutes on the pitch, he's looked a bit.
He was the last of man Gattuso needed to regenerate. So he started off with Bonucci, Romagnoli. So first he got the ones at the back, then he put in Biglia. Of course, Cutrone was doing quite well under Montella as well. You got Çalhanoğlu to play consistently and do well.
And Suso,
Bonaventura, everyone, essentially, in a starting 11. Kalinic, still not happening. But there's Andre Silva. To be honest, we'll have to see if this was just, one-hit wonder. Even though, in any case, it's those 3 points that could make a difference.
Yeah, exactly. And it's moments like that, like we were talking before about Juve and Napoli. It's like small moments where you might get a last-minute goal, and things like that can really kind of galvanise a team and drive them forward. Because it looked at points in that game that Milan weren't even going to win. They were going to lose, essentially.
Yeah, I think it was a 0-0 game. A draw would have been the most deserved result for both sides. If you win that kind of game, obviously afterwards you have that extra boost, and even just winning 2 extra points on Lazio, who drew, on Inter, who drew. So it is really important, both mathematically and from a mental point of view.
Although on Andre Silva, I have got some gossip Vieri. After spending some time with the San Siro, I found that apparently he's going to leave, like he's 100% gone. He told a friend of mine. Although he kind of realised afterwards that he wasn't supposed to say anything, but he basically said, he's done. So he's off in the summer.
We're turning this into a transfer.
It's a transfer gossip news, breaking, oh my god. But if he stays, don't quote me on this, but apparently he's off. So.
Apparently he's off. What's important though is what he does between now and the end of the season. So perhaps
he could still stay if he plays in every game, scores 15 goals, takes Milan to the Europa League and the Coppa Italia and Serie A.
Well, I mean, if he does all that, then he's definitely going to leave to bigger and better clubs.
Exactly. So there we go. Andre Silva could be coming into form at the right time for Milan. Who knows? We'll see. Right now,
the most interesting bit of Serie A is really not at the top. It's got to be at the bottom.
I don't really want to talk about this too much because I was at the big derby at the weekend, the Derby della Scala, Chievo versus Verona, and it was rubbish. The game was rubbish, the result was worse. 1-0 to Verona, which is massive for the relegation zone because Verona are second bottom and they're 3 points behind Chievo. And
there's six teams and 4 points.
And it's
something like that, and
crazy.
It's unbelievable. Obviously, Benevento, we love them, but they're behind.
They're 14.
They're out of it.
Staying up, so that's not going to happen unless literally a miracle.
But Chievo, Sassuolo, Cagliari have been brought back into it. Like the relegation battle is huge. There's the 3 I just mentioned. There's Crotone, there's Spal, and Hellas. And it's impossible to say which one will go down.
Again, before we came on, you said that Chievo and Sassuolo weren't really expecting a relegation battle this season. And I think when Chievo had a really good start, there were times where they were 7th, 8th, they were at the top half of the table.
I think they just switched off too soon.
Yeah, because normally, this is what normally happens with Chievo. They get to about 40 points and then switch off because they know that's them safe. But they seem to have done that thinking, right, we've got about 25, 26 points in early December, we'll be all right. And since then, they've just been so bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Switched off too soon, and to get them to re-engage is difficult.
It's difficult because you're up against teams that really want it. I commentate Sassuolo versus Spal on the weekend. Yes, Sassuolo missed a penalty. They did have some very good chances that they did not take, but the way they approached the game, their attitude. I mean, Spal at points had 65 to 70% ball possession away to Sassuolo. They just wanted it more. They were running more. They were occupying the space in a better way. They're in better shape. You know, because they know it's that kind of battle. Sassuolo, we're used to kind of different parts of the table. When you're in it, it's a lot harder. You're up against teams that will put in that kind of different attitude for, you know, to stay up. And it's not easy for teams that are not used to it.
Yeah, I think what can be said about kind of Cagliari, Chievo, Sassuolo and the other three is the quality in those teams is a bit better.
Well, yeah.
I think that's maybe the saving grace, where they might be able to not play well, and they've still got players like Chievo, for example, have got Inglesi or Giaccherini that can change a game. Sassuolo have got the likes of Babacar, who can just have one good game.
Politano, Berardi.
Yeah. So there's a few players there that can just change a game on its own, whereas the likes of Hellas, Spal and Crotone, there aren't players that can win a game on their own, so they've got to play as a team and fight together.
What I'm going to say is I don't think all three that came up from last season will go back down. So I think at least one between Spal, Hellas and Benevento will stay up, and that means one of the bigger ones, or Crotone will face a relegation at the end of the season.
There you go. See what he thinks of that. Right, and the last kind of that we want to talk about is obviously the scenes in Florence this weekend. Obviously, kind of we were both at the funeral. I went down on Sunday to the Benevento game. It was emotional, to say the least. We did a little video about it. I think, did we do a video? Yeah, I put some video stuff up on Twitter and things like that, so go and have a look at that. There's an article on Forza Time Football. It's got all the different pictures and videos and stuff, but it was, it was emotional. Obviously, you've all seen the choreography, you've seen all the kind of stuff that was done before. The thing that kind of struck me maybe most after the game was the players. All of them collapsed on the pitch, like almost right in front of me. They just all fell to the ground as soon as the referee blew his whistle. Bardell was in tears. The referee had to help him up and kind of console him. And it's just, you could see that even though the Benevento players to an extent, everybody on that pitch was just drained of everything they had physically, mentally and emotionally. There was nothing left. So the question this is how will Astori's passing can it affect?
And where'd you go from there after being so drained?
Yeah.
I think paradoxically it'll be harder for Fiorentina to face every other game from now on, increasingly, because the first one had such an emotional meaning, an attachment, and a full house. The whole attention of the media, all these little things put together meant that Fiorentina really wanted to win. Now, how does that translate for the rest of the season? I don't know. It could be a season-long boost, or just that immediate, passionate reaction.
Well, yeah, because they might, like some of the players, like for example, Petzl after the game said he didn't want to play.
Yeah.
They didn't feel ready to play. So are the players going to be motivated to have to every single week have to kind of pick themselves up again, not have their captain there, always be thinking about them in the back of their head, and some of them might think, well, this is only football, it doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, exactly. So,
what did you make of the other kind of side of that would be like, right, we've got to do everything for Davide and win for him.
But it's honestly impossible to tell what way this is going to go. I think, in a way, if Fiorentina were fighting for something, if say they were in Lazio's position, fighting for a top 4 finish, their reaction would have been positive. But not having anything to fight for could lead to a lot of mediocre games for what you just said. Where is the motivation?
Right, something kind of we spoke about on Thursday in Florence was Milan Bardell, because obviously he gave that wonderful eulogy at the funeral. He's now been appointed the captain until the end of the season at the very least. Well, before that, it looked like he was going to be on his bike, basically, when the summer came.
For the past 2 seasons, he's been on the verge of leaving. His agent has publicly spoke against the club numerous times because of how they dealt with the contract renewal, because of the offer not being good enough, because of other clubs putting in offers. And I mean, he was one of the few we were absolutely sure was going to leave in the summer. But then he ended up staying, incredibly, despite the revolution, with 11 players leaving Fiorentina, and the one that had his contract ending just a year later stayed. And despite that, every news on a contract renewal was dismissed until now. And now he could be the one leading the kind of new Fiorentina from now on, from this event onwards. He could be signing a contract renewal and staying.
Yeah, and it's kind of events like this that kind of put things into perspective, and he might feel like, right, I'm going to be the guy that kind of picks everybody up and helps drive this team forward, and be the new.
On the one, he's also one of the few charismatic leaders left in the changing room. He's one of the few that's been there for more than 2 seasons, I think. So.
Exactly. So could stay. It could be an interesting thing. And that kind of ties into the owners as well, because the Della Valle brothers, all Fiorentina, aren't well liked in Florence, just to say the least. We can both have seen demonstrations, signs from the
every single game there are a chance against the Della Valle.
They don't like them at all. The Della Valles wanted to sell the club. They tried to sell the club in the summer. Nobody bought it. But then on Sunday, Diego Della Valle turned up, and he was applauded by the entire stadium, which is something like you would know this better than me. But do you think that the fans have kind of changed their attitude?
I think it's reciprocal. The fans were impressed with the way the club dealt with this week, because it is
they did a fantastic
an astonishing event, and they dealt with it beautifully well. I think the club, where they had everything was just in the right place, super balanced, and they gave Astori the farewell he deserved in the correct way. And likewise, the owners and the club were extremely impressed with the fans' reaction. Not a single bit out of place. And I think what happened at the funeral, the amount of people who were there, and during the minute of silence ahead of the game, where it was literally a minute of silence,
dead silent. Literally, you could hear
60 seconds.
You could almost hear the wind that was passing through. It was
never happened.
I've never seen or heard or been involved in a minute of silence like that.
So I think both sides have seen all the positives
from each other,
and this could bring everyone back together. And even just, I'm not saying that the Della Valle are now ready to spend big money on Fiorentina, but just have a different kind of attitude towards the fans, because this is what the fans have always criticized. We don't expect you to spend a lot, but don't tell us you're aiming for a top 4 finish, when clearly the financial intentions are different.
Be honest, basically.
Be honest. That's what Florence and Fiorentina fans just want, a bit of honesty from the Della Valle, and I think they'll get that. And I think in return, the Della Valle will get less criticism, and supporters and fans that will be backing the club more regularly and in a better way, because after such a tragedy, all you want to see is football and the players having the support of the fans.
Yeah, as sad as it is, it's kind of brought a city and a club
inevitably
together, which obviously you'd expect. Right, so that's us finished.
On this note.
A bit of a sad down note. Obviously, you can see some of the videos and stuff that we done from Florence, and obviously after the tragedy, go and have a look at them on the channel, and on social media we've put some videos and stuff like that from Sunday's game against Benevento as well. So we actually put a video up of the minute silence, and you can hear it in the video that there's just
it's unreal.
It's crazy. It's honestly crazy. It's an unreal thing to be part of. Obviously sad, but not very nice. All the stuff, social media, blah blah blah, down below. Right, so until next time, there is nothing left for me to say apart from arrivederci.
Ciao.